Hi everyone, this is a video review of the Matty Collector 23-inch transformable Voltron. And after this review, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, as for Voltron himself, here he is in his combined mode. Now, one of the complaints I got during my Ultimate Voltron EX review was because I filmed the robot mode portion of the review vertically with my camera, and the line portion in landscape mode was that the combined mode turned out to be sideways when I uploaded the video to YouTube. So because of that, I decided to pull my camera away just far enough so you can see most of the robot. As you can see, it doesn't even cover the feet. I'll roll my camera later in this review, but you can still see almost all of the robot mode from the wings down to just where you can't see those feet. I've got my camera pulled back pretty far. I mean, I can't even reach the Voltron with just my arm from this distance. And I got plenty of white space to the right of Voltron as well, due to how far back I've got my camera pulled. But right now, I've got most of the robot shown, so I'll review how it looks right now. Starting with the wings, as you can see, there's some white on the tip of the wings, unlike the Toonami Voltron, and I know people often like to compare the Toonami Voltron to the Matty Collector Voltron, because this was released way before the Ultimate Voltron EX came out. As you can see, it looks very much, the wings and the chest, they look very much like the wings and the chest of the Blazing Sword Voltron. And I believe that's because the Blazing Sword Voltron was more or less a concept for how the big 23-inch transforming Voltron would look. I mean, this even has the blazed up sword. As you can see right here, just like that 6-inch figure did. Going over the chest, as you can see, the red part is shaped just like the Blazing Sword Voltron. Now, one of the things that has bugged me about the chest for a long time, and I know this is sort of a nitpicky gripe, or even a gripe that you probably aren't concerned with at all, is I kind of didn't like how this black portion of the chest is much wider than the white abdomen right here. Now, I know the Chogokin Voltron is like that also, but it sort of bugged me with this figure because the Chogokin Voltron just sort of didn't try to hide how wide the black part is. Whereas I think this Voltron just tries to hide it by just sort of giving it more of a buff robot look to it. And it sort of bugged me that this part was as wide compared to how tall it is, as much as it was. And the other gripe I had is that I thought the gap in the red part, this one and this one, I thought they were too big. I mean, they don't bug me right now, but at the time I thought that the gap was much bigger than it should have been. But that's the only other gripe I've had with the chest. I mean, for the most part, it looks fine. I mean, you got the symbol right here, which the original Voltrons had. And as you can see, you notice it's got all the colors. Black is up here. All the other colors are down here. The black is not on there, mainly because I think the symbol is on the black lion. But, yeah. That's it for the chest, which looks like the Blazing Sword Voltron's chest. I think it's just okay. Now, as for the face, I think, again, comparing it to the Toonami Voltrons, which is what a lot of people did at the time, some people had this gripe that the face didn't look happy enough because the Toonami Voltron sort of had a happier look on its face. I never got why people didn't like this frowny face. I mean, Voltron is supposed to fight evil alien monsters, so it's fitting he would have sort of a battle-ready look to his face. And really, I do think that this face really more fits in with the aesthetic of this Voltron, it being a big figure with making lots of clicky noises when you move the figure, move the articulation joints and transform it. Really fits this figure a lot, way more than the happier face on the Toonami Voltron. Now, it is missing the red on the forehead that the Toonami Voltron had. When Matty Collector made this, they were going for a more cartoon-accurate look, just like with the Blazing Sword Voltron. So it doesn't have the numbers or stuff like that. Doesn't appear in the cartoon. So that's the reason why it doesn't have the red forehead. And if you see the Voltron Force cartoon, he also didn't have the red forehead, which I think was continuing more of that cartoon look rather than how the toys released at that time looked. Well, that's it for me looking at the head. Now, looking at the waist, or around that area, you can see the star right here. Now, it's different from the stars on the other Voltrons, I think, because the left and the right points, the top part, I think on other Voltrons, they slanted downward, whereas this one is just pretty straight left and right. And I do like that, and as usual, I do like the yellow star belt on Voltron. Now, one thing you might notice that's different from this Voltron and the Chogokin Voltron is that this Voltron has some black on the top of its thighs, whereas the Chogokin Voltron just had black on the center of the crotch. Now, I do prefer Voltron to be having the black short shorts as opposed to just the black underwear down the middle of the crotch that the Chogokin Voltron did. I mean, for a toy robot, I do think it's better for it to have black short shorts than black underwear. I mean, if you had to pick between it having black short shorts or black underwear. But that's it for this area right here. You might notice some yellow on the sides of those black short shorts. Do like that. Looks nice in lion mode too. Now, scrolling down, you can see the feet right there. And the feet are the heads of the blue lion and the yellow lion. Now, as for the way the rest of Voltron looks, it's more or less how the lions look. And I'll go over how the lions look later in this review. But right now I want to do a comparison, since I have this much white space on the right, because people asked me not to do a vertical review like I did last time, because the video would end up looking sideways. Here is the Matty Collector Voltron next to the Ultimate EX Voltron. Now, this Matty Collector Voltron is special to me because for a long time this was the best Voltron in my collection. I even liked it more than the Toonami Voltron. I'll get more into why I liked it more than the Toonami Masterpiece Voltron when I review that figure. It really has more to do with that figure, but right now I'll compare him to the Ultimate EX, which is the next biggest Voltron figure, at least next biggest I have. Although if you saw my Legendary Defender review, it's like a wing bigger than the Ultimate EX. But comparing these two Voltrons, despite the differences in size, the difference in the amount of detail and the paint that this Voltron has compared to the amount this Voltron has is pretty big. I mean, comparing these two, I think the Ultimate Voltron EX just completely destroys the Matty Collector Voltron, just in terms of the design, the detail, the paint job, and the articulation. And the Ultimate EX is much cheaper too. I mean, When I said that at the time this was the best Voltron I had in my collection, I also meant to say that it was much cheaper at the time too. I mean, the lines for the most part basically just costed around $50, whereas right now it's much more expensive. The Ultimate Voltron EX you can probably get for like $350, whereas this Matty Collector Voltron will run you far more than the Ultimate EX would. I mean, it's probably at least $100 more for the Matty Collector Voltron if you buy it on eBay as opposed to the Ultimate EX. I mean, I haven't really checked how much more expensive the Matty Collector Voltron is, but it's probably at least $100 more. If you're going to be spending hundreds of dollars on a big Voltron, I do highly recommend the Ultimate Voltron EX more. It looks better in a lot of ways. Comparing how these two look, you can see there's a lot more molded details on the chest as opposed to the black chest here, which is just flat compared to the Ultimate Voltron EX. And you do notice the Ultimate Voltron EX has different shades of colors for its Voltrons. I mean, the lines. For example, you can see some gold on the yellow line and some yellow underneath. Same thing with the blue. I do think there's a shinier blue along with the regular blue used for that one. The legs, you do see a more silverish gray used for the lion legs here, as opposed to this one, it's just a sort of duller whitish gray. And the wings, they look different. No white tip, but the white that's being used on the wings does look more detailed than the white on the Matty Collector Voltron. Head, it does have the red on the forehead, just like the Toonami Masterpiece Voltron did. I do think they're really more taking... This Voltron took more cues from their previous Masterpiece Voltron than the way Voltron appeared in the cartoon. As for the waist, again, like the Toonami Voltron, the Masterpiece one, it does have the black short shorts, as opposed to just having black on the center of the crotch. You do get some nice detail, paint detail on the thighs with the silvers over the thighs being mostly gray. And as for the legs, they do sort of have a more roundish look as opposed to just the Matty Collector Voltron legs just being more rectangular looking. That is mainly because the Toonami Voltron has better looking lines than the Matty Collector Voltron does. It really more emphasized much on how the lines look than any other Voltron figure out there. And again, I do think that in terms of design, detail, paint, and articulation, the Ultimate Voltron EX absolutely destroys the Matty Collector Voltron in terms of which is the better figure. And I'll show you how this figure, the Ultimate Voltron EX, has better articulation with the Matty Collector Voltron as I go over the articulation right now. First, I'll show you something that the Ultimate EX can do that the Matty Collector can't. You can bend this a full 90 degrees. This one, not quite. This can rotate above the elbow or at the bicep. This one, there's no articulation there. Yeah, so the elbow can bend, but there's no swivel going left and right. Now, if I remember or recall correctly, the Matty Collector Voltron, you can't get him into any sort of crouching poses due to the way the ratchet joints in Voltron's legs work. This one, I really have much more freedom to move the legs, at least when you're comparing it to the Matty Collector Voltron. And I'm sure you've all seen the pictures of the Ultimate Voltron EX. He can do the crouching poses. Now, the Matty Collector Voltron is pretty big, and I don't want to damage this figure while I'm showing off his articulation. So I'll just get this out of the way. Go over articulation. The arms do about that much. The arms can go the full 360. But if you got the wings, they'll get in the way. The head, you can't get it to stay up due to that transforming gimmick. And you've got this auto transform thing right here. It's supposed to be the part of the transformation where Keith says, "And I'll form the head," and that comes down. As for the waist, goes back and forth just this much. And again, I already said you can't get him into any cool crouching poses. Now, as for the legs, you can go back as far as this leg could go. I do believe it's a full 90 back and forth. At least until the leg hits the waist. You got some nice swivel here below the black part. Knees can bend that much, unfortunately. Go forward that much, oddly enough. Now, as for the wrist, rotate all the way around. Now, the only thing I haven't gone over yet for this figure, is the feet. But with a figure this big, I mean, what are you even going to do with the feet? I mean, if you tilt them up, it's just going to fall backwards. And if you tilt them downwards, then yikes, we'll be able to stand. So, just transform him into his individual lines now. To do that, I've got this up close to the arms, so you can get the arms out. It's pretty easy. I mean, just pull out a bit, just come right out. And unlike the Legendary Defender Voltron arms, you don't really need to pull it so hard to the point where you feel like either the figure or the arm will fly off. So it's got this auto transform gimmick. Just press the buttons, legs come out. Of course, you still got to position the toes in the back. Again, get these toes like that so they can stand. Now, as for the legs, there's a button right here, similar to the Chogokin or Masterpiece Voltron. You press it, and you can just pull the legs off. So, just press this button. It's kind of tough to do this off camera. The yellow line, just press the button. The legs and the head go down. The heel, you have to get it to fold up manually. With the tail, no auto spring gimmick there. Do the same thing with the blue line. Now, for the black line, no auto transform for the head, even though there's an auto transform for getting the face to show. And the auto transform for the lines is basically from robot mode to lion mode. Next, you press the button here, and you'll notice this is where the number 1 was on the Toonami Voltron. Since this is more of a cartoon accurate look to it, they didn't put the numbers here. And I guess without the numbers, it doesn't really have that Megazord feel to it, or that Toei accurate feel to it. Now, in place of the number, there's a button, so you press it, legs go down. Now, if I recall correctly, the way there's a defect in one of the legs. That's why this one goes out further than this leg. I'm not sure what it was, but at least it's not causing any noticeable gaps in the red part of the chest. Let's get the paws out. Legs, now, unlike the Chigokin Voltron or the Masterpiece, the toes don't work as the connector bit. This is the connector bit, and get this in, get the toes out, this leg down, and here is the Black Voltron lion. Now, you can get the wings. If you're wondering if you can get the wings out, yes, you can. You can get the wings out here, like in the comic books, but unfortunately, this leg will collide with the wings, especially this one right here. That wing is kind of loose and will constantly fall down, so it can't fall down anymore, unfortunately, which is kind of a shame since this one is pretty tight, which it should be on a big figure like this one. But if you just want it to fill them up, do it like this. And here is Voltron, and split into his 5 separate lions. Now, again, Matty Collector really more emphasized a cartoon accurate look to the Voltron lions, as opposed to the more toy or Megazord-ish look that the Toonami Masterpiece Voltron did. As you can see, it doesn't have the numbers or any added details to them, despite their size. Now, to go over each of them, I'll start with this blue line right here. As you can see, not a lot of details which are visible. Everything that's colored is a big part of the lion, like this yellow stripe here. I wish they could have painted this yellow underneath. It's only really yellow when you get this tail in for the combined mode. So I really wish they could have filled that this blue space in. Do you like how they've got the yellow, the red, and the white to break up all the blue on the blue lion's body? As for the head, they really use the white nicely to break up all that blue. Now, as for the legs, it is this sort of dullish gray-white look to it. Now, it's a bit darker on the thighs than it is on the bottom. I'm not sure why. I mean, I don't think I ever put this Voltron in front of any sunlight for a long period of time. So I'm not sure why this part is darker gray compared to the lower legs. And even if it was exposed to sunlight, why isn't this part also darker? Because the legs fold up like this. As you can see, it makes a nice clicky noise. And this part would have also been exposed to the sun. So I'm not sure why it's like that. Again, with this line, everything transforms with one button except the tail. Now, as for the sides, you can see some nice molded details here. All these different surfaces. And you can see some nice details right here. It'd be nice if we had some panel lines around the edges of these rectangles so we can see them better. So there are some added details to the lines. Just a few. And you can't really see them well, but they are there. Now, take a look at the red lion. As you can see, The arm lines are usually smaller than the leg lines, but I'm glad it's not smaller to a degree, at least a degree similar to the Toonami Masterpiece Voltron. As you can see, these are much closer in size than they were on the Toonami toy. At least when talking about the Masterpiece Toonami toy. Really do like this red line. You can see they add some more molded details here. I'd really like this new extra surface right here on the edge. On the sides, again, a lot of stuff engraved on the sides, but you can't really see them that well because it's not panel lined. As you can see, again, that stuff on the sides. I suppose you could go over it with panel line marker. I'm not into panel lining, mainly because I know that if I tried, I wouldn't stop. I mean, I don't know the difference between enough panel line or too much panel line or too little. Again, for the head, some nice white to break up all the red on the face. And for the top, there's no number where it should be. Instead, we have a button. Press this open, you can see the cockpits. Now, if I recall correctly, my friend Optibonimus, when he said that these were stickers, he also said he wished he could put the stickers himself on the lions because one of his stickers didn't end up being aligned correctly. I'm not sure if that's a right idea because to have a sticker, because I'm often afraid that if I put the sticker on myself, I might also screw up, and it's be difficult to buy a new line. I mean, these are like $50 each just to get a new sticker if I mess up putting this sticker on, especially since Matty Collector doesn't make these anymore. But here's where the pilot would sit. Now, I don't have the pilot right now, mainly because I keep it at a different part of my house, and I usually don't keep the pilots inside because I don't want them like bouncing back and forth in there because it might damage the pilots, and also because I'm too lazy to get them out right now. Again, I don't keep them I keep them somewhere else, place separate from the lions. Now, taking a look at the green one, it's a much rounder than the red one. It's also an arm line, just like the red line. Now, it never made much sense to me why the arms had an asymmetrical look. One was round and one was red, especially since on a toy robot, I usually prefer a more rectangular look as opposed to just a round look like this Voltron line has. Although I do like how it does look more square and streamlined underneath. I like this added surface right here. And how it's flat here. Again, get some nice details engraved on the side. Again, you press this button here. It's supposed to be with the key that comes with the pilots, but just putting your fingernail in there works fine too. As you may notice, this was the part that kept opening when I was moving Voltron's arm. Again, some nice white on to break up the green on the head, but not much going on with this lion besides that. As for the yellow lion, again, I do like the more rectangular look as opposed to the green lion, and I do like how the size of this lion. I do like this lion better than the others because it's not one of the small ones like the red and the green, but it's not overly big like the black lion. As per usual with the yellow lion, I do like the red fins right here. Do like the nice use of red and black just to break up all that yellow on the yellow lion. And I do like how it's also being used to break up the yellow on the head. So, yellow line looks great. Now, as for the black line, I already talked about the wings. I like how the wings can go out like in the comics, but again, it doesn't really work with every pose with the front line legs. I do like how it's got yellow here on the sides to break up all that black, and it's got white in the middle here because the abdomen is white. And as for the head, I do like the yellow ears to break up all that black and all the red that's being used as well. So put this back here. And like I said before, this Voltron was special to me because for a long time, this Voltron was the best Voltron in my collection. I even liked it more than the Toonami Voltron. But considering the eBay prices that this Voltron has right now, I'd say it's not worth paying those prices just to get this Voltron. I mean, it's nice to have, but don't get me wrong though, it's still a nice Voltron to have. And probably worth getting at cost. But if you want to spend like $350 on a big Voltron, like I said before, just get the Ultimate Voltron EX. I think it's the next biggest Voltron compared after this one. And in terms of design, paint, and articulation, the Ultimate Voltron EX just destroys the Matty Collector Voltron in those aspects. I mean, it's got elbow swivel above the elbow, and the Matty Collector Voltron does not. It just has way more molded details than the Matty Collector Voltron does, because this Voltron focuses more on cartoon accuracy, whereas the Ultimate EX Voltron looks like a really cool design made by a third-party company, a redesign that also very much is still based on the original Voltron. Well, that's it for my review. Like I said at the beginning of this video, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/legendantihero. Follow me there. And you can also follow me on Instagram. My username there is legendaryantihero. And you can also befriend me on Facebook, facebook.com/legendantihero. Well, that's it for my review. Goodbye.